Hey everyone, this is Dr. Eric Block, your host of our weekly Monday nights on I Love Dentistry, a live Facebook event where we could discuss a topic for the day and with a member of the group. And today's topic is a conversation about pediatric dentistry, and I'm joined by Dr. Lee Weinstein. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me and all the members on Facebook that are watching now or the recording. We truly appreciate it. Dr. Lee, tell me all about yourself and your story. No pressure there.
Well, that's okay. Well, first of all, I'm going to apologize to everybody because one, I'm from back east originally, so I speak fast. Two, I apologize if I speak like a third grader because in the pediatric world, you have to speak that way. And my wife teaches nursery school, so we are like Mr. and Mrs. Rogers together. Depending on the day, sometimes we come home with a couple of 4-letter words that says, "How was your day?" And then we move on. But this is the world of pedo. I see that you're casual. This is it. I don't get any more dressed up than this. That's how you can tell, no offense, but that's how you can tell most pediatric dentists when you go to a meeting. We're the ones wearing sweaters and t-shirts and everybody else is in jackets and ties. Teach his own, but you could pick out the pediatric dentists. So I grew up in Philadelphia. I went to Temple. I went to Temple St. Christopher's Hospital for pedo, Temple undergraduate for dental school, Temple undergraduate for my BA, which I got in history, and finally finished, which seemed like a lifetime, but I ended up doing that and then moving on to, I moved to North Jersey there and I started to teach at Fairleigh Dickinson before it closed. So I taught there about 8 years and I worked at an office. Then we decided to make changes. I moved out to Long Island and I opened up an office out on Long Island and I taught at LIJ, Schneider's Children's Hospital for 22 years, ran a GP, pedo portion of a GP residency at Nassau County Medical Center for 5 years. Then my wife and I said, oh, we're no more winter. We're done. We packed up the kids. We're like in the witness protection plan and we're gone. And we said, we moved here 2004. Which was great. And we're in Phoenix and I have an office here. And during that time, I've cut back. I've been practicing 38 years. My back and my body don't necessarily go together with dentistry. So first little tidbit is if you have to get, everybody hates paying disability insurance, I included, but it was the best thing I ever did because I'm sorry, I see you're New England Patriots. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
We can't talk
there
about
we go.
Yeah. My wife's a Giants fan and I'm an Eagles fan and we can't sit together at the games. So anyway, if you have to pay for your disability insurance because you never know whether or not you're going to get it or not. You're going to have a problem or not. So my 2 points or at least my 2 comments here are if you have to get it, pay it with pre-tax dollars so that it's tax-free later on, which should be common sense to many. If you think you have a problem, you need to go to an attorney. This is just my opinion and my experience. You go to an attorney first. They're going to ask you, the insurance companies, what are you wearing today, Eric? Eric's going to say, I'm wearing a gray shirt and blue jeans. They want you to say blue jeans and a gray shirt. Is it the same? 1,000% it's the same. Do they care? Yeah, they care because they're doing everything they possibly can to deny you the claim, unless you're in a major accident or not. I have C4, C5, L4, L5 that say, hey, there's stenosis. I have numbness down my hand. You're not going to be able to practice much longer or practice at all. So follow that. Most of my advice tonight is some of it is worthless tidbits of 38 years worth of practice. Some of it is valuable. I think that is a valuable tip. And I think that really helps or can help somebody. The lawyer does what the lawyer does. You do what you do. Don't think that you can fill out the form the right way when they are way above you on technicalities and things like that. So find somebody.
Did you have a claim that you submitted that was denied?
Yeah. No, it wasn't denied. The only reason it wasn't denied was because I have an attorney that was in my corner and that handles it. So from my standpoint, I think that I know that I would not have gotten it because I would have screwed it up somewhere unintentionally, and it was legitimate. It's not that it's not. But it's something that you need to be concerned about. Years ago, I taught with somebody. I taught a student who graduated from Fairleigh, and a month or two after he graduated, he was on a step stool changing a light bulb. He fell, he broke his fingers, he broke his hand, but he broke his fingers and he bent them back so badly that they couldn't get them back the right way. And he was not able to hold the handpiece. He happened to have, because he sort of listened to me, which is more than my wife and my kids do on most days, but nevertheless, he listened to us and, other people at the school. He filed the claim, he got the claim, paid, but it was not nearly enough because he had never had a chance to increase. So increase with your income and talk to your accountant and do that stuff. That's not a pedo tidbit. That's a general dentistry tidbit. That's just some stuff that I learned along the way. And you learn from my mistakes, and hopefully you learn from other people's mistakes as you, grow and expand your offices and things like that. So that's like tidbit number one.
You came right out of the gates with some solid, disability tidbits there. That's good stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I know talking like a child, because I have a 6 and 8 year old, and I that transverses over to my work world, and I'm still talking like I'm talking to a 6 or 8 year old, but I'm talking to adult patients. I think most of them get it now because I've seen a lot of them for a long time, but it's amazing how
it because do they care? No offense, but they don't care to say, well, I'm going to be putting in a composite resin and we're using acidulated phosphated fluoride 1.23%. Put the crap on my teeth. Will it work? Fix my teeth. Does it look okay? Fine. All right. I'm simplifying it, but they need to do that, and I try when I lecture to anybody that wants to listen to me, that you dumb it down because it's so much easier to understand.
My adult patients actually get a kick out of when I say, here comes Mr. Thirsty and Mr. Whistle. It's just, they think it's funny, and I'm talking to an adult patient.
Okay. I get you 1,000%. So another little tidbit is GPs, you can learn how to handle your customer service or your practice by following what some pediatric dentists do. In your office, or you go to the doctor's office. I realized I had my physical last week. I didn't know we won the Civil War because the magazine was dated 1865. So you sit there and you go, oh my God. So take a tip from a playbook that has sort of worked for me and most pediatric dentists. Make your office fun. Mm-hmm. Why is it so staid? You can have a beautiful office. And you could be worth millions of dollars and stuff. The patient doesn't really care. If they walk in and there's, hey, can I get you? We did coffee years ago before people were doing coffee. I don't take credit for that idea, but we did it. And patients would come. We had people just stop in our office and say, hey, oh, Dr. Lee, I just stopped on the way. I know do you still have the chocolate fudge from the Keurig? We had a Keurig in there. I said, sure. And when the next tidbit is, if you have a Keurig machine in your office, why do you have to go to Costco to buy Newman's Own or whatever it is when you can buy from Keurig or wherever you want to buy and buy 50 different flavors? Why not? It looks like you went halfway. This is just my opinion. It looks like you went halfway to get coffee, but you didn't go all the way to make it enticing for patients. Oh, the chocolate fudge or the vanilla nut or hot chocolate or tea, whatever it is. Incorporate it on, have fun. We've had, and the people that sort of actually listen to me sometimes do that. And when they do that, they sort of get it. The office becomes, your staff doesn't become staid and very formal. It's, they get up. We have sofas instead of chairs, but we get up and the staff will walk to the front of the office and they'll talk to people, or I will walk to the front of the office. If there's nobody there, I walk all the time, but if there's nobody there, I'll sit down and have the exam. I know why you're there. You're there to get your teeth fixed, or you're there to have your kid taken care of. Let me know who you are first before we do that. And people want to go, my office was like Cheers, the old television show, but you want to go to Cheers where everybody knows your name. And you know what? I don't know whether people follow up or not, but follow up with a phone call. We call all our new patients. We call all our rough patients that were okay. We call all our operatives. We call even all the sealant patients. This is nothing novel. I'll just use a quick example. My daughter just gave birth to my first grandchild, and she was 5 weeks premature. And she had eclampsia. She went from preeclampsia to eclampsia in 1 minute. And real quickly, she had a seizure. They threw her in the ambulance. They took her to the hospital. She ended up going into the ER. They did the emergency C-section. Baby was 5 pounds. My daughter ended up, her heart stopped. They gave her blood pressure medication to drop her blood pressure. Her heart stopped. Long story short, she was in a ventilator, on a ventilator for 4 days. And I now talk a little more calmly because we're doing okay. But and then 2 days with the ventilator in. Long story short, they called the OB who she used just to say, hey, my daughter, your patient was just admitted to the hospital. Here's the scenario. That was November 28th. We called 4 days later, so it's December 3rd or 4th. Today is December 20th. We have yet to hear from the doctor. Now, my wife yelled at me today. She goes, it's none of your business. She likes that doctor and maybe she should use that doctor or whatever. And I said, we called the doctor, left a message for the doctor, and the doctor hasn't bothered to call back. I'm sorry, that's not acceptable to me. Especially, I don't know what happened before, and I'm not blaming anybody. Stuff happens. I know they didn't do a urine test before, the week before when she was there, and maybe they would have picked up the protein or whatever. That's water under the bridge. But aren't you concerned about your patient? You don't have to call, you have your staff call. In my office, we do a lot of special needs. I lectured a while ago, and I went out to Dubai a couple of years, right before COVID. And special needs patients aren't called special needs patients there. They are called people with determination, which I believe is a substantially better term. That encompasses people who can't hear, or hearing impaired, or have physical problems, or mental problems, or other handicaps that are in there. And it doesn't stigmatize anybody, whether it's a kid or not. So we use people with determination. But in my office, and perhaps in your office, I have a special needs coordinator. Her name is Desiree. Desiree happens to have an autistic kid, so she's got compassion, but she is my go-to person. You can have a go-to senior advisory board or senior consultant. Your assistant Susie Q, anybody that's over the age of 70 goes to Susie Q, if that in fact is something that makes it. So they feel more personal. Desiree will call and do all the explaining and make the appointments. And they know they have a point of contact. And they know that there's somebody that understands what the parents are going through and how you have so many other issues. It's just like going to the office, and there's still plenty of people who don't take blood pressure. We take blood pressure of kids like 15 and above. It's not that complicated. But if you're not taking blood pressure, I just think I've been teaching that for years. If you're not taking blood pressure in your office, if we're trying to become part of the medical world, which doesn't like us to begin with and has separated us years ago, we have the head and neck and we have the rest of the body, and we're not. That's stupid. But if we're trying to at least pretend that we have something that's similar to the medical world, then let's do the medical stuff. Okay, you want to do a pulse oximeter? Put the pulse oximeter on your finger and get your blood oxygen. Do you do an oral cancer screen? I've got kids, they're 16, 17, who are smokeless tobacco or chew or whatever it is, especially out here. There's a lot of kids that do that. And do we educate? I'm not going to lecture and pontificate because they get that from their parents and all that stuff. But if I'm not doing my job or you're not doing your job, you haven't completely done what I think you should be doing. This is, again, all the stuff I talk tonight is my personal opinion. Some of it is you could say, what a jerk. And some of it you might say, hey, that's pretty interesting. But if we're going to do it, one, let's take credit for it. Let me take your pressure, Mrs. Jones. And it's high today. You have a 75-year-old, or it was high for whatever reason. Maybe we shouldn't do the procedure. It's like an orthodontist that we have an orthodontist that works with us, but an orthodontist that will do a case. And what they believe, the parent will believe that this child has been being followed by the orthodontist for decay, when the orthodontist has no clue and is not doing that. Occasionally you have an orthodontist that will do cleanings and maybe put on fluoride varnish or do whatever, but they usually don't do that. So, just because you go through the orthodontist doesn't mean that they're doing what they're supposed to. And an orthodontist doesn't get out of the case oftentimes. I don't know how many times you see it. We see it all the time. We'll have a kid that walks into this office and will now see hypoplasia, breakdown of the teeth, banded with schmutz and crap and all that other stuff. We use, every time we do a hygiene exam or a patient, every patient gets two-tone disclosing solution. We always did it in school. We came out of school, I came out in the 1800s, so we didn't really do that. But now, you know, for the last 30 years, I've been using two-tone disclosing solution. It's a good tool. It shows a parent and a child what's happening. It can show an adult. Describing it doesn't work to me. A picture is worth a million words, you know, not 10,000, a million. So we will use that disclosing solution. This orthodontist now sends his kid, and I call back up and say, take the damn braces off. I'd rather a kid have a class 12 malocclusion and no decay than a class 1 smile and need the next 60 years worth of work done because he didn't take care of his teeth. He wasn't mature enough to do that. And that's okay. You know, I've got 3 kids. Each one of my kids are different, and they all matured at different levels. They also have different decay rates. What I do for big one is not necessarily what I do for little one. Little one has more decay than big one. So
now, do you wait until the patient is responsible enough to prove that they can take care of their teeth before giving the orthodontist the green light to put the braces back on?
Oh yeah, 100%. But I will also be that kids and the parents, some appreciate it. The kids sort of hate it. If not, take the braces off and give that kid, hey doc, give that kid 6 months. If he doesn't get better, cut your losses, do whatever it is. They don't want to miss the income. Okay, I'm sorry. You know, I'm here for the patient. If you don't like what I say, I'm sorry, but here's the disclosing solution. Here is fluoride varnish. Here's fluoride rinse. Here's an electric toothbrush. Here's I'm giving you all the tools. I understand you're 14 and you're 15 and you're 16, and it's not that important to you. You know, no offense, you're smoking weed, you're doing whatever you're doing. And let's put things in perspective. They're kids, but somewhere along the line, there needs to be an adult that says, hey, somewhere along the line, that orthodontist needs to say, I got to get out of this case. And I've seen too many of them where they haven't.
The disclosing agent is such a good idea because, like you said, you can talk about it all you want, but we take an image of a cracked tooth and show the patient. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and so is showing the patient or that parent that two-tone disclosing agent. Okay,
so here's one example, and it's hard to see. Maybe I can do it. This book is called The Totally Gross and Disgusting Mouth Book. And this is just somebody's mouth, obviously. And it's a great book. I use it daily. Ted Kroll wrote it. He's a pediatric dentist in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. And here's the one picture that we show all the time is a disclosed tooth, okay? A disclosed mouth. This is what it is. I personally like the two-tone, but this book has every example of what tooth looks like, what junk looks like, what, decay on primary teeth look like. These pictures are worth a million words. This is worth buying. I get nothing out of any of the stuff that I talk about today, but that book is worth looking into. Ted Kroll, you look it online and go on Amazon, and it's $30. And my office and my hygienist use it all the time. But using the two-tone, okay, you didn't brush today. Oh, I didn't brush today. Okay, yeah, you didn't brush today. But that purple tells me you didn't brush in 3 weeks. So we caught you. Maybe patients don't want to do that. This is what my job is. I may not be able to get you to do any better, but I don't want you getting worse. So we try all the tools we can. And again, dumbing things down. You can call it whatever you want to call it. Here's the crap on your teeth. 1, it's bad breath. 2, this is what it's causing. 3, get rid of it. It's not that complicated. Here's some disclosing tablets. If you have kids and you want to buy the disclosing solution, here's where you can get it here. You can buy it. I don't care where you get it. But it's great. If you really wanted to be punitive to your kid who says they're brushing their teeth, and I have the kids go home and I said, here, we're going to try this next week. Your teeth are clean now. Next week, go eat like 5 crackers, 5 saltine crackers. Mom, stain the teeth. And you'll see, and they laugh about it. They do it in the bathroom. And I said, no, listen, Mom, if you're making your kid do it, you need to do it, because you're just lecturing. You're a pain in the ass parent. If I don't do it for my kids, with my kids, well, how would I expect them? and then they're going to come back and say, well, you don't do it. And then they'd be right.
Now,
So
Lee, what would you say is the latest trend in pediatric dentistry? And I've heard a lot about SDF. Do you use that in your practice?
yeah, SDF is great. SDF I lectured pre-COVID in Austria to the Austrian pediatric dental group. I did it in conjunction with a friend of mine at NYU, and it's been around since like the 6th century in ancient Japan, where it was a sign of beauty where the teeth turned black. It's a phenomenal tool that you should be using, because you have an elderly patient that comes in, non-pedo. You have an elderly patient who needs 4 quadrants of dentistry and has no money. What do? You need to at least try to arrest the decay. It's simple stuff. Is it turning the teeth black? Okay, yeah, it is. But you know what? You came with the problem. I'm trying to fix the problem. Let me work with you. So those patients that can't afford to do, or can only afford to do a couple of teeth at a time, at least I can take care of that. I use it for our people with determination of special needs. At least get started, at least stop that. I have an infant that comes in, or a 2-year-old, or whatever it is, the 2-year-old that comes in with a bombed out mouth that may have some health issues. That is an OR case. And some of the hospitals and some of the ambi-surg centers, you could be out 6 months before you could get in to do that. You have somebody, my father's 95, he lives at home and he's pretty healthy, and my mother-in-law is 91 and in pretty good shape. My mother-in-law needed a crown, so her dentist talked her into getting a crown. She's 91. She hasn't missed a meal in her life. She doesn't have any money. She doesn't need to have a crown. They did a root canal on a crown. This is just my opinion. You could get through, I don't know. And I step away because it's not my mother or father. So I step away from some of that stuff, but it's great stuff.
Does it just arrest, or can it actually reverse the decay?
It's not going to reverse it. It arrests it. You can go you can go down to just about a millimeter from the pulp and put the stuff in, and it'll turn the teeth black. We get a lot of kids that come in with anterior teeth that are bombed out. Now, obviously, if you have anterior teeth that are bombed out, it started on the linguals way before it started on the facials. Mm-hmm. And if you follow the recommendations, and we lecture to pediatricians all the time, by the ADA, the AAP, the AAPD, you name it, you should find a dental home by the age of 1. I suggest and recommend that we find a dental home by the age of 6 months. Not necessarily because you have teeth, but if I arm you with the knowledge of what to do, perhaps you'll listen to me. And if you listen to me, we're going to prevent. They've done studies that say 4 applications of fluoride varnish before the age of 2, provided that you have teeth, before the age of 2, will reduce the chances of decay by 30%. So if you were following all that away up the line, then that would help prevent you and reduce the risk of doing SDF. And if the kid is little and there's a little spot on the lingual because that's where the bottle was hanging out or whatever, you're going to see the decay on the linguals, and you'll also see the decay on the D's and the E's. And the bottom line is, it's the pediatrician goes right by the teeth, never looks, and goes right into the throat. Now that they get paid for it, I was the dental director for Medicaid in Arizona for 3 years. I was an insurance consultant. They get paid about for Medicaid, about $27 per kid per appointment on fluoride varnish. Someone gave me a nickel every day, and I could go to Las Vegas and put nickels in the machine and get $27 back out. That's all I would do. Pediatricians can do that, and from a dollar and cent standpoint, still make money, but actually benefiting the patient. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to get that point across. And if I get that kid and I put SDF on the linguals and I put SDF at the beginning before I can get that kid in, the little kid, you don't want to sedate. You don't want to necessarily, and there's plenty of people that are sedating that will say, oh, if 2 medications work, 3 medications work even better. It's crazy. The world is litigious. People don't know what they're doing. And SDF is a great stopgap till I get to that kid that I absolutely need to.
If you catch it early, does it not, and you're coming through the lingual, does it not turn the teeth as black?
Yeah, correct. Because it's obviously you're going to get some light reflection and refraction and stuff, and you may see black. But you know what? What am I going to do? I have a 2-year-old kid that's not going to sit still for me to do that stuff. That means I either have to sedate, and I'm doing oral sedation, whether it's liquid in my office, or I have an anesthesiologist come to my office, or I have to go to the hospital. They're my 3 alternatives. Every time you put that child under some type of sedation, inhalation or propofol, they're at risk. I don't care whether it's me that's doing it or my anesthesiologist is doing it. It's an incurred risk, and it affects brain cells. So why, save it up till you really need it. And in this particular case, wait till that child is a little bit better. Like my grandson won't be home for another week. He was 5 pounds 1 ounce, went down to 4.9. Now he's 5'2". They've got to wait till he can suck a little bit better. And once he can do that, then he can go home and move on to the next phase. But my kids are wiping around every day because I'm Jewish and neurotic, and I have them doing that stuff, but we're wiping their teeth around. so you understand. So they're wiping around to get the crap off the teeth. Okay, you can call it whatever you want, but that's what we do.
Now, how do you deal with those little anxious patients? What's your advice out there to dealing with the anxiety?
Well, first of all, I have 3 books for my kids. I'll go back to being Jewish again. Each one of those kids, one's 30, 28, and 25. When they go to therapy, when they're older, they're going to have page 27 that says, Dad yelled at me for this. Mom yelled at me because I didn't take the garbage out, or whatever it is. They can discuss it with the therapist, but they don't have any cavities. Mm-hmm. So what we do is, first thing we do is we make sure, I believe in fluoride, whether it's fluoride varnish, not the fluoride foam, because fluoride foam does nothing. I believe in checking to see whether or not you have fluoride in your water system. We have fluoride in our water system here, which is great in Phoenix, but no one drinks the water because the water tastes horrible. So they all go buy bottled water. So they're buying Evian or whatever you want to buy. It doesn't, Poland Springs, it doesn't make a difference. They're buying all that stuff, and the kids are only drinking that water. So they're not getting the fluoride. Pediatricians don't put them on fluoride supplements. In New York, every one of my patients was on a fluoride supplement, provided it was up to parents, but 98% were on fluoride supplements, polybiflor, whatever it is, and stayed on that. The anxious kids, what you have to do is you got to slow down. But if I start at 6 months, I'm going to expect that my kid from 6 months to 2 years will kick, scream, and be miserable. And I say to a parent, I don't care if you kick, scream, and are miserable and have nothing to do, which is better than kick, scream, and be miserable and have to be sedated. So we can sit on the mom's lap. We'll do whatever we're going to do. We do need a knee. So you and I, Eric, are sitting there, and here is my kid, and I'm looking straight at my child, and I put him down on your lap because we're knee to knee. And you are going to be holding his, he's in my lap with my head. I have my hand around, you're holding his hands, and you're holding his, legs, and that's going to calm us down. Eventually, one day it sort of clicks. And then when that happens, then you're golden, because you can almost do anything. And I use my example. I've had a couple of colonoscopies and endoscopies and things like that. I love my doctor, and I will behave better for my doctor than I will for some strange doctor that's sticking a tube down my throat. Because I walk in feeling more comfortable, and I walk in, and that little kid walks in and says, "Hey," my grandson's name is Charlie. "Hey, Charlie, slap 5, enter the contest, play with the toys. We'll get down on the floor. You got to get on their level." And you don't have to do something, but if you start early enough, you do. And I don't want to hear, no offense, because we get it plenty of times where a GP says, "Oh, you don't have to come back till you're 3." Well, that's a disservice. I believe that borders on the line of sort of malpractice and whatever, if there's a problem. I think that, you follow what the guidelines are. It's the same thing with a lot of other stuff. So what we do is we cajole, we play, we have a good time, we have fun, and kids will react at different ways and at different levels. Nitrous oxide is a great tool that we will use if we need to use it, and we use it a lot. And kids will pick a flavor. You have a 5-year-old kid that's nervous, say, "Hey, we're going to use the ice cream nose," and we'll go out and buy food flavorings, and my kids will mix. Well, it's Christmas, chocolate, and peppermint. We wear different colored gloves. Why do you have to wear the white well, we were using latex. Why do you have to wear those white gloves? Okay, you're a doctor. Okay, take a tip from our playbook is put on colored gloves during Christmas. I mean, during Thanksgiving, Halloween, we had orange and black gloves. Oh, and we blow them up and it's fun. Why not? You know, it's just like watching Robin Williams and Patch Adams. You know, those people did better because he was goony. Okay, and they felt better about it and they behaved better for it. Adults do the same thing. You just have to do it in terms that they understand. And you need.
I was just going to say this is great advice, not just for pedo offices or pedo patients, but even for adult patients. You know, make it fun and comfortable for them, and they'll be patients for life, and they'll recommend their friends and colleagues.
Okay, correct. Do they maybe they want to watch you want to watch the Financial News Network because you're busy comparing your stock tips or your stock or whatever. They probably want to watch Elf. You know, if you're putting stuff on, put music on, put stuff that they want to listen to. It's not about me. I can do whatever I need to do with whoever, but it's about knowing you. I don't know anything about you, Eric. Now I know you have 2 kids. I know you have more hair than I do. I know where you live. Before we even get to the back of my office, and we give everybody a tour of the office, whether they want it or not. And we say, look, this is where we sterilize. This is what we do. You know, here's our bulletin board with everybody's picture. Can we take your picture? Adults like taking their pictures. You know, I'm not a big fan, and I know people do it all the time. Here's a picture of before and after of Mrs. Jones. You see it all the time in the ads in the Philadelphia magazine, Boston magazine, whatever it is. They go to the plastic surgeon. He's got you before where you look horrible, and now he's got you after where you look much better because you've gotten your hair done. You got someone to do your makeup, and your teeth look good. Okay, or your skin or your breast, whatever it is you did, you look great. Well, of course, you're comparing apples and oranges. So for me, I don't like those things when you go to the offices. Here's my patients of what
there's always a new hairstyle with those pre and post photos. There's always a new hairstyle.
Yeah, always a new hairstyle, always a different angle, always different. So you know what? My patients realize that they have the pictures. The adults get in it. Can I have my picture too? Absolutely. Why not? It's all part of it. If you have that positive attitude and you have fun, and they trust you because they're having fun, or at least more relaxed, then they'll follow your recommendations. So when I go to my dentist, who's a friend, and I know her before dental school and all of this stuff, they need to spend extra time because I talk too much. But we banter back and forth. Not only am I in the chair doing that and my hygienist is there, I hear something from the other room, I'll scream to the back, they scream back here. All of a sudden, we got patients involved in conversations. It's like going to the barber shop or Cheers, where everybody knows your name, just screaming back and forth. My office manager is from Ohio. That's her problem, but it's from Ohio, and she's a Buckeye fan. And we don't talk about football when Penn State plays Ohio State, but we get everybody else involved with it or whatever. You can't come here. I'm sorry. You're an Ohio State fan. Sorry. You have to have a sense of humor. And if you
sounds like a big party over there. You got patients talking back and forth. You got the coffee. You got it going on there.
Well, we do. I mean, it sounds stupid, but they all contribute. So one thing that we did from a PR standpoint, and it wasn't really from a PR standpoint, but it was, is we had a contest for adults and we had a contest for kids. Please design next year's, we did it like in October, next year's Christmas card. There's $100 gift card for the winner. So each year we would have a kid and an adult design a Christmas card instead of me going to the store and buying the same Christmas cards that we would send out, designed by so-and-so. And we had that. We do a movie day in conjunction, a charity day, but we do a movie day in conjunction with Veterans Day. And it's the beginning of the holiday season. So your entrance to our day is to bring some cans of food. So it goes to the food bank. We get 600 to 800 pounds of food, goes to the food bank. The patients come in and they're in a movie theater, adults and parents alike. And the kids are running around and the parents are running around and say, I didn't know you come here. I didn't know you come here. I didn't know you come here. And it's a nice thing to do. We do. It started out a long time ago from a PR standpoint, was really from a charitable standpoint. We started to do once a quarter, do free exams and work on people that either don't have insurance or have no money or whatever it is. We didn't realize the second time we did it, someone told us about it in the news, and all of a sudden we're on television doing that. And we're getting like 500 calls, and we said, well, we can only do a little bit at a time, and we can only limit it to 50 or 60 people. But people saw what we were doing, and then we just started to do it and say, hey, well, we might as well take credit for it. We were going to do it anyway, but now we were on television 3 or 4 times. I collect tubes of toothpaste from around the world. You could do that. And I have 350 tubes of toothpaste. My patients contributed probably 1/3 of that. Dr. Lee, I went to Belgium. I brought you home toothpaste. Or our bathroom is full of postcards. Going on vacation? Send me a postcard. We have a big map that we cut up, and we have, where you're from. They're all fun things. And the results are, parents will say to me, can I come here? And we say, well, sorry, you just missed the age. Right? You're past 21. I can't do it. You just missed it. I find it really funny that pediatric dentists or specialists altogether will sit there and bang on the door and say to you, Eric, general dentist, please, 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 please send me your kids. I will take care of your kids. And in return, I will hope that you will, take care of my adults. What should really happen, in my opinion, again, is, Eric, you should be knocking on my door and say, Lee, I'll send you my kids because I don't like working on kids, or I'll send you what I can send you. I love kids. Can you help me out? Perfect. If I like you, I'll start sending my parents to you. I have a kid that's worth $150. This is pure dollars and cents. And I have 2 parents that are worth $1,500 each, perhaps more. So why am I knocking on your door? Because you've already ruined this kid, perhaps, and you've tried 3 times and your kid can't get anywhere, and the kid's got the K. Now he hates you. Either send me the kids if you don't like kids, send me the kids 3 and under, send me kids 5 and under. I don't even care whether you send me the kids. I care that I will be able to send you, Eric, or anybody else that's there, patients that will be treated well, nicely, and with quality and compassion. So when someone says to me, where should I go? And I know them because we've had a conversation, and I know I'm making it up. You excel at doing anterior implants number 8 and 9. That you do them phenomenally, better than anybody I've ever seen. And I know that you guys will get along from a personality level. So I'm going to send you somebody that you're going to like. You're going to be happy that I sent you that person. You're going to make some money out of it or whatever. And if I benefit from you getting me a kid, that's fine. If I don't benefit, I benefit by that parent who walks out and says, you know what? Lee sent me to Eric. I love Eric. You got to go to Eric. And then you should send your kids over there. And whatever.
Yeah,
so
that's such great advice to get in touch with your local pedodontist and create that relationship. And I think that is, I'm calling my local pedodontist tonight and getting that meeting set up. I think that's a gem there.
I mean, it's stupid not to do that. And
I know.
We all learned it. Why is it that we always have been knocking the door down? Please, specialist, please send me your root canals. Please send me your kids. Well, it works the other way. I'm more than happy to send you my adults because I know that I have 5 or 6. My hygienist hated when I said, I have a stable of doctors that we send, but I pick and choose. You're not a one-all fit. You may be good for X, Y, and Z, but you're horrible. I know your personality. I know my patient's personality, and I could see sometimes, people that say, oh shit, they're on my schedule. I hate them, and excuse my language. And you get through it, but I don't want to work with people like that. I want to work with people I like. I create a lot of people that I like, but there's sometimes you have to do what you have to do. So if I'm sending you somebody that you like and that should like you, and you will now benefit from that. That's such good advice, Lee. Wrapping things up, one last question. Okay.
If you had, if some advice to tell those young pedodontists or young dentists, what would it be?
Oh, have fun. Be compassionate, quality of care. Join a lot of these groups. I Love Dentistry and whatever. And I just posted the other day, I want to see your failures. I don't want to see your good stuff. And this is just my opinion. Somebody that does an IV sedation, where the kid is asleep for 12 hours if need be, Of course you're going to do quality work. I want to see stuff that fails. Show me why, or say, hey, 8 and 9 didn't come out as nicely as I'd like. The kid threw up. He was sick. I didn't feel well. You don't need to make excuses. I'm not caring what your excuses are, but let me see your failures so we can all learn from your failures. I'm not learning anything besides the fact that you may have an ego that says, Eric posts every day. He posts, telling me how great he is. You want to post that on your website? Okay, post that to your peers. You're just braggadocious, I guess. So my I guess takeaway, basically, because I have 45 other things to talk about, is have some fun. Refer out. If you don't know what you're doing, it's fine. Limit yourself to stuff that you're comfortable with. If you don't want to do a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, then don't. But don't stop there. Refer them out and make sure they're done appropriately, and give that kid the best advantage that he can have. GPs, use a rubber dam. Okay, we all learned it in school. It's not that complicated. A split dam technique. I use a 12A, 13A. I put the dam on. It takes me 8 seconds to put the dam on. We all learned it. We all hated if you had to invert because the nasty professor said, 18 pins in number 29, and you have to invert and do everything for that tooth. Make it simple, stupid, and just move on. But keep up with technology. Look at SDF. Have that in your toolbox. Use fluoride varnish. Use regular checkups. Do some charity work. Do that stuff and have fun doing it.
Man, I think you had about 100 gems there. So awesome stuff. Dr. Lee Weinstein, thank you so much for joining us. Again, everyone out there, please like and share this event. And we'll see you soon in the I Love Dentistry community, and have a great night. Lee, thank you so much.
Oh, perfect. It's nice meeting you, Eric. Hang out for a minute if you want, and just keep doing it. Anybody has any questions, look for me on the site. You can email me or whatever it is, and it's or my phone number, whatever it is. I'm on I Love Dentistry, and I love the site.
Sounds good. Be in touch.
All right, have a great holiday.
You too.
Perfect.